Hey guys, Kira here, and this time, as you can see by the title, it's a Tokyo Ghoul review and Tokyo Ghoul Re. I just finished it like yesterday or the day before, and yeah, basically you know how these work. I'm gonna say story and then characters, whatever else I think needs a mention, and then I'll also try to give like a rating for each of them as I'm going along. I'll probably forget though. You'll see. And yeah, that's basically it. So let's get straight into the video. So yeah, Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul is one of those series where I actually like the story a lot more, and it's not just like, oh, I'm starting to like story more since I liked the last time too. I like the story more. It's just I find the story in Tokyo Ghoul to be much more like the characters are really good too, right? Kaneki, I'll get to him later, but like the characters are really good too. It's just that I find the story to be so interesting and like it's very unique and it has a lot of depth to it, I guess you could say. And like I don't want to say it's deep, but it has a lot of layers, right? Some series have like a very linear and straight story, like only one thing happens per time. Maybe they might foreshadow something in the end, but there isn't really much like going on at the same time. Tokyo Ghoul, on the other hand, it really has like a lot of different moving pieces at the same time. They each have their center of focus, even in when it's not its own arc. So I really like that about it. And the foreshadowing in the series is really good too. The two I want to say like the two main sequences of like big foreshadowing is one I think like the most like important I guess version of the foreshadowing is the scarecrow reveal in Tokyo Ghoul Re. I think that was like really well foreshadowed, and I guess it's like someone was reading back Tokyo Ghoul Re like on a reread, they could probably like notice that even more. And another one I really like, so it was really subtle too, right? It only had like a couple of times. It was like minor changes to like the not the story, the what's it called? The end of chapter pages, right? Or and stuff like, or like one time like at the end, like the last page of a like chapter is just like a centipede. The whole like I want to say centipede scene. Now that I mentioned it, the whole centipede scene in Tokyo Ghoul is heavily foreshadowed in the manga. I only really noticed it because I had already watched the anime like years before, and I really like how well foreshadowed it is. Right, it's really subtle, and if it's your first time like reading the series and you don't know anything about it, you won't notice it. You'll just think, oh, okay, it's just filling up space or something. But then he like pulls it out of nowhere, not out of nowhere, but like if you know what's gonna happen, it's like really like it's like a really nuanced thing he does, And I think he also does like he also shows the centipede again later on, which I really don't know why. If anyone knows why he like has another centipede page later on, I don't know why he does it. Then someone please explain. But I don't know. Anyways, yeah, the story's really unique. The setting I really like really just normal Tokyo just with ghouls, but like the way like the dynamic works and I guess the world building, even though it's in our old world, is really well done. The final arc, I don't want to say is the best. It's not a bad final arc, right? It's got a good antagonist and all that. It just like elevated it a lot compared to like what it was beforehand, if you know what I mean. Like before they were just normal ghouls fighting, then the final arc happened. It's not too out of hand, right? It makes sense to a certain degree, but I'm not gonna really gonna complain because it's still a good arc. I definitely think the best arc was the Antaku raid, or the last arc in Tokyo Ghoul, the Tokyo Ghoul Re. It really finished everything perfectly. If it was by itself, it probably wouldn't have been that good of an arc because it would have just been a bad ending, in my opinion. But since it had a Re, it was just it was perfectly in the middle and it was a really good arc. It had really good fights, really good scenes. It was a good conclusion and at the same time a new beginning for what was to come. I really like that. And but yeah, the story has a lot of like nuance to it. Not the story, the world, like the world in general has a lot of nuance to it. I'm counting this as the story, right? Like they have a lot of detail into like ghoul culture and everything like that, especially near the end. But like they didn't even they could have just said like ghoul weddings are like and like any other wedding just more depressing because they can't do it out in the open, right? But no, they even like they don't really explain it to you, but they kind of show you what a ghoul wedding is like in the attire. And I really like when they go into like that much detail to the point of a wedding, not to the point of a wedding, but like to the point that like you would know how to dress basically for a ghoul wedding in a way. I hope that makes sense to you. I do think that I don't remember if anyone like major died, but I do think Ishida, like Sui Ishida, does have like that thing that other shonen mangakas do, that they're like scared to kill off a very important character. Like I don't want to say his name, but a very important character in the beginning, not in the beginning, like in the first part of Tokyo Ghoul. I definitely think when they like they should have died, right? It would have made perfect sense. It would have been a great end to his character, even if it like he had died and he didn't come back with certain reasons. I personally would prefer he was there more, but I still feel like that would have been a better ending than having them show up again. It's not too bad, right? It's not like they kill off a character and then they show up 5 chapters later and there's also an explanation. It's just the idea of them just not dying there kind of didn't really, I didn't really like it too much, right? And yeah, with all of that, right, all the nuance, all the uniqueness, and everything about the Tokyo Ghoul in its story at least, it's probably why I think it has one of my favorite stories in recent time. Right, I haven't found a series that, one, I really like the story as much as I did Tokyo Ghoul, and two, that I just enjoyed as much. I guess I know I kind of said that already, but I just really enjoyed this story. It was very unique, and there aren't many mangas like it. I do want to see if I did try to read the spin-off of Tokyo Ghoul Jack. I really couldn't get past the second chapter. I really didn't like it. But if there is more, I probably will read more because I want to know more about that world, about the characters and all that. But yeah, as for the story, I want to give it like, honestly, like I'll give it a 10. I really enjoyed the story. As I said, probably my favorite story of all time. Not my favorite series, right? But like if you just separate the story by itself, probably my favorite. It was really engaging, really intriguing. Always a new twist and all, and just everything good about a story. It had it, and a bunch of it. But yeah, so now I want to go on to the characters. So yeah, as for the characters in Tokyo Ghoul, I definitely feel like, I don't know if it's because I really liked a lot of the characters or just because it actually happened, but I definitely feel like some of the characters didn't get enough screen time, or they just disappeared for way too long, right? Like, I didn't really pay attention to like how long some characters were gone, but like, in my opinion, especially Toka, I definitely feel like Toka was gone like unnecessarily long. I don't know if she actually was, but like while I was reading she just like showed up once, and I really don't think she showed up much until like what felt like 40 chapters later. But yeah, I'm not complaining about the characters or anything, right? I definitely, Toka is easily one of my favorite female characters. The series has one of my favorite antagonists, who I'll get to in a sec, and my favorite character in the series, anyone's favorite character in the series, Kaneki is a great protagonist. He's probably in my top 5 protagonists. And it's not like he's other protagonists like Thorfinn who make you want to, like, I don't know, be a pacifist or something. But it's the way he develops and like the way he changes. And he changes so much, and I just really love that about his character. Which I honestly, before reading the manga and only watching the anime a few years ago, I honestly didn't like his like development a lot, because it felt really sudden, right? Like one scene and he goes from who he was to a completely different person, which I didn't really enjoy before. This time when I read the manga, honestly, not perfect character, but like the development was amazing, and everything about his character is great. His design's also good, right? I don't really get like the whole. Actually, I'll explain that later. Like what I was gonna say, I don't get. I'll have like a spoiler section at the end, but yeah, the design, good for the most part, and I don't know, like the way he has like a lot of like stages, I guess. And I really like that about his character, how it's like different, really like stages, and I don't know, man. I really like. I know I'm sounding repetitive, but I really like the character. But I like the series in general too. But yeah, as for the antagonist, right, which is basically the whole of the CCG. But as for like, if I want to focus on a specific person, I definitely feel like Amon is a great antagonist. Easily top 20, probably top 15, and maybe top 10. I really didn't think about it too much. I definitely felt like he definitely could have showed up more. I still really enjoyed how his dynamic with Kaneki, how he started viewing ghouls and everything about that, their fights, everything about. I only like Kaneki and Amma individually so much because of what they are together. Kaneki without Amon just wouldn't be the same, and Amon without Kaneki wouldn't be nearly as good. Would they still be good characters? Kaneki for sure. I'm not sure Amon, because Amon's like main character almost. I feel is like his, not his development, but like how his worldview changes after meeting Kaneki and after all of his encounters with Kaneki. So I definitely don't know if he'd be as good without Kaneki. I still really enjoy his character. Maybe top 10. I would say I do an analysis on him, but I really just can't. I don't think he has that much to analyze. Or if he does, I really just don't know what I would say besides him and Kaneki. But yeah, those three characters I mentioned are great. Skiyama, I think, I don't even remember his name. It's something like that. He's a good character, especially later on. I really enjoyed his character. He had one scene I really enjoyed, which I won't show the panel because it's a spoiler, but it's saying like, why don't you guys want him to be happy? But he certainly develops a lot, and other characters as well. They're all really enjoyable characters. You can really, I don't think it's as competitive as a cast like in other series like Kingdom, for example, or Magi, where your favorite character could really vary like between three different choices, and it's honestly like respectable. You can honestly see it a lot throughout like different people. I think this series you're obviously gonna have Kaneki as your first, like as your favorite character. You're probably gonna have either Toka, Kishima, or Amon as your second favorite character, and from there is one of those three. After that, it's really just like goes downhill. Not saying it's like the cast is bad or anything. It's just that a lot of the characters are individually not that great. I still enjoy like the cast in general. Every group Kaneki's in is great. Anteku's a great group in general, and yeah, just the characters in the series are great. Every group is great. They all show their like role really well, and I don't really feel like any character overstays their welcome. The only complaint I could have about like any of the characters is the lack of screen time for some of the characters. And even then, I guess that's like a good thing, saying that like I like the character is so good I want to see them on screen more. So I really don't have any complaints about the characters except, as I already said, more screen time. So yeah, now that I already said that, I want to get onto the art and the themes and all that. So yeah, I'm gonna start with the art. If you've been in the community longer than 5 minutes, you've probably seen Tokyo Ghoul Art. And even then, right, if you're just looking at the video, you can tell the art is amongst the best you'll see in any manga. The art's just like, first of all, the art style is amongst my favorites, right? It just looks great. The Kagunes look beautiful, and everything about the series is just amazing. The only really thing that isn't great is like some of the action scenes I feel like aren't like the movement, or like where they move. Yeah, the movement isn't as good as in other series of similar art quality, but it just looks like it's just a pretty manga to read, man. Like, I don't want to say that the paneling's out of this world. I think just the drawings in themselves, they're just pretty. I don't know how to say it. I would say beautiful, but just pretty is like more accurate in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, as I already said, you can, if you're looking, you can tell. But I don't know. It's probably got amongst my top 5 favorite art. Like in manga, it's just that good. The covers are pretty good. They're not my favorite covers. I'm not saying they're bad, right? But just a few of them aren't really anything special. I mean, a lot of them aren't anything special. What is underrated though, or I've just never seen people talk about, is the art after the covers. That art is like some of the most beautiful you'll see in like the colored aspect in Tokyo Ghoul. Like, it's just so, it just looks so aesthetically pleasing. You could probably use that as a wallpaper for your phone, and people would think it's like fan art, or not fan art maybe, but like something designed to be a wallpaper. It just looks that good. You know what I mean? And I don't know, man. I really don't know what else I'm supposed to say about the art. Just that it looks so good, and you can already tell by looking at it. But as you can already see, I really love the art. But the next thing I wanted to talk about was the themes, and I really don't know what themes Tokyo Ghoul really touches. I don't say I can like really classify. I really would say like they really tackle on like family and friends, loneliness, and discrimination. Also, they handle out of any of the series I've read, right? Out of Vagabond, Berserk, Kingdom, One Piece, all these like critically acclaimed mangas that everyone says are the best, no series has done insanity, right? Like a character going insane as well as Tokyo Ghoul. Nothing even comes close for me. Like when a character goes insane, you can see them going insane. It's not like they go mad or anything. Like you can see them. I don't know. Like when Kaneki goes insane a few times throughout the series, you can see him repeating the same words, like a whole screen of the same text. You can see him writhing in pain. It's just like the way they depict someone going crazy, right? Like lose. I'm just at a loss for words, right? I'm speechless. This manga, like the way, like every time a character goes crazy, it just feels so real. Not that I've seen someone ever go crazy like that, but like it just feels like that's what would happen, or if not what would happen, what it would be in an exaggerated state. It's just, yeah, I don't know, and it's not even Kaneki alone where he does it great. Any character who goes insane or anything like that, Ishida just does it amazing, right? No series comes close, but not to get carried away on the not carried away, but not to talk too much about one specific theme. Discrimination is also done really well. The way ghouls are discriminated against, and near the end, how they deal with that theme is great. I don't think insanity is really dealt with near the end, if that's even a theme. It's just the concept of it. I feel like is really good. Family and friends, obviously, you can tell. Also, before I almost forgot this, but Tokyo Ghoul has my favorite, this is gonna sound weird, but the best couple I've seen in manga in a while. But yeah, anyways, family and friends is done great. I really don't. Loneliness is also a good one. You can see Kaneki not being able to relate to many other people, for many reasons, right? But especially the amount of pain he goes through every day. He can't hide it, right? And he's still happy a lot of the time, but you can really tell he's he's not actual happiness. If sometimes it's happiness, but it's not. I don't know how to explain it. He could always be happier, I guess, is the best way to say, except in the ending. But that's because he doesn't have anything to relate to, right? He's lonely. Mentally, he's lonely. He might be surrounded by friends and family, people he considers family, and people all around. But I feel a lot of the time, unless he's with certain people, he really feels just alone. And it's because he has to struggle. And you can see this, right? And they even mention this because in a lot of the fights, he goes in alone. And that's basically all I'm going to say for now. I'll talk about it in the spoiler part in a bit. And that's basically how I think they portray it really well. I definitely feel insanity and discrimination is what this series deals with the best. Again, if insanity is even a theme, that is. Oh yeah, before I forgot to mention, the characters, the cast in general, I give a 9, not a 9, a 7, I guess. It's got Kaneki, which is great, but actually I'll give it an 8.5, right? Because it's got something in my top 10 for every category: female characters, antagonists, and protagonists. Just aside from those, it doesn't really do much. Because side characters, I'm gonna be honest, Tsukiyama isn't really gonna do much there. But yeah, the art honestly I'll give it a 10. It's some of my favorite art I've seen, and the way it portrays its themes and deals with them. If it was insanity alone or loneliness, I'd definitely give it. Or I mean, not loneliness, discrimination. I'd give it a 10. But since there's other themes in there and they're not really that noticeable, or I personally don't notice them. I already got corrected on that before, so I personally don't notice them. Then because of that, I'll give it a 9, 9.5, right? Those though are just ratings for total. Individually, I'd probably give total individually, I'd give Tokyo Ghoul Re a 10, and not 10, a 9.5, a 9, and I'd give original Tokyo Ghoul a 10. As for the story, character, and all that, I give the original 10. Re, I'd give a 9, mainly because of the final arc. Characters, I easily give. It's hard because Tokyo Ghoul Re is much more consistent with his characters. It's got more good characters, but part 1 has more has what do you call it? More of my favorite characters show up more, right? I like them more in part 1 than in Re. But yeah, so I'd probably give part 1 9 and Re a 9. I'll give Re 9 too, because they're just, that equal, I guess. It's just two separate coins. Quality over quantity, basically. As for themes, it's literally the same thing in my opinion. So honestly, I'll just give the same score I gave it last time. Anyways. But yeah, that's basically all I wanted to talk about, I think, right? Yeah, that's basically all I want to talk about. For no spoilers, I generally wouldn't have like a specific section for spoilers, but this series is just leaves me so speechless and just so good that I really want to be able to talk about like the events that happen and everything. If you haven't seen Tokyo Ghoul and you're just like watching this as like a recommendation, or you just want to see my thoughts, then you can click off the video now. Or if you already read it, or already watched it, I guess too. Not really, but yeah. Or you just don't care about spoilers, and you can just keep going. But yeah, if you have a piece, anyways. As for the spoilers, I'm gonna get this out of the way. The torture scene, right? Also, the anime, at least the first season, is way overhated. I'm gonna start off with that. That's definitely a hot take, right? But the torture scene, right, with Kaneki and Jason, that was easily better in the anime, in my opinion, right? It's more of a scene that's like hard to watch or hard to read, and I really don't remember a lot from the anime, so I could just be wrong. But I remember like having to not having to stop, but like wanting to just stop watching, but at the same time being so interested in what happens when I was in the anime. In the manga, I was interested in what was happening, but it wasn't like so hard of a scene to watch that I just couldn't stand it. That could also be because since then I've seen more like darker mangas, I guess, like Berserk and stuff like that. So I don't want to say too much about that, but I definitely think the torture scene is definitely what the anime does the best and does it better. Aside from that, the manga is better in every other aspect. Yeah. My favorite fight easily is the final, not final encounter, but the final fight in Tokyo Ghoul, like the part 1, with Kotaro versus Amon versus Kaneki. It was a quick fight, but it was so good. Like it was just a great conclusion to Amon's character. It really, in my opinion, Amon's character should have ended there. It would have been perfect for his subordinate Mado. It would have given her time, it would have given her that time without him a perfect ending, not ending, but like good reason. It would have been a good end to his character. It would have been good developed to Kaneki. Everything would have been perfect. And then he got not revived, but and then he got shoved back into the series, which kind of ruined that part for me. Probably my biggest complaint with the series, aside from the side characters thing. But yeah, like if Amon would have died, it really ticked me off that Amon survived. I'm not mad about it. It just it could have the series. In my personal opinion, Amon, the only good reason, the only good thing that came out of him being back is one, him meeting Mado again, like them being together, and two, his whole thing with like that priest that raised him, like the whole fight at the end, and even that wasn't even that much. I personally would have preferred if it just died in that part, right? Anyways, as for the next part, Toka and Kaneki's marriage, it was long overdue, man. Like it was probably my favorite anime couple or manga couple in general. Right off the top of my head, I really can't think of one I like more. The Arima versus Kaneki fight, also like a very good fight, very emotional. If that's your favorite fight, honestly, I can respect that, I can understand that. I just preferred Amon over Arima, so I guess like if you like Arima more, you're gonna like their fight more than if you like Amon more. Really, I guess it's just who you prefer more as a character. Still both great fights, right? They both developed Kaneki a lot. Also, something I really didn't understand, like the point of, I could just just be not understanding something. So if you watch read the manga, and you want to tell me, let me know in the comments below. Obviously, put a spoiler warning beforehand so that people know. But I don't really understand the whole point of the whole aging thing, right? I don't really see a benefit of Kaneki aging, as he was using his Kagune a lot, right? I just felt like the series would have been the same whether or not he aged a lot or not. There could be like some thematical thing that I just didn't notice, and if there was a case, again, let me know. But as for, I just thought it was like a useless point of information. I mean, it's nice, right? It's a little nuance, but I didn't really see it like help us anything at all, or just like advance the story. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. I think that's basically all I wanted to talk about. Overall, Tokyo Ghoul is, I think I already said this, but it's easily top 5. I think I have to think about it. I only finished it yesterday, so I haven't really like finished like saying where I put everyone. But it's probably top 5. If not, worst case, it's definitely top 7. One of my favorite series I've read in a while, and yeah, I think the last series I enjoyed nearly this much, I think was probably either Love Is War or Magi, really. And that's been a while since I read those. A few months. So that really says a lot personally to the series. And the next video, right? I'm gonna say this now. The next video probably won't be a review because I really don't have any series I'm finished to reading. I have Orient and I really just started that, so I need to read like 93 chapters. Or Pluto, because I have to do. I have a plan for like reading. Not a plan for Pluto, but I have something planned, which needs me to read Pluto. And if you know who you are, so yeah. Anyways, so I'm probably gonna get around to those two series eventually. If not, right, my next video is either probably gonna be me experimenting with the top 10, which I've never tried to do here, or I'll do that Beastars thing I mentioned last week and just talk about a series I already read. I'm not sure. You'll see by the time I make the video. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, let me know. Leave a comment, like, subscribe. You know the deal. Let me know what you thought down below. I'll say that again. Emphasis. Anyways, peace.